Okay, there you go. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's fine. So my name is Sebastian Kaye. I'm not on campus. I'm currently in Maryland. I only moved here about, I think like 3 months ago. I got married at that time, and so I moved here with my spouse because she goes to school here. And of course, I became an online student as well. I'm a software engineering major.
Cool.
Anything else you'd like me to say, or would that be good?
Oh, that's perfect.
All right.
How you like it in Maryland?
I like it quite a bit. I think it's a good area also for software engineering for jobs. So
That's
we'll see how
interesting.
that goes.
Cool. Mike, would you mind going next for us? Or can you talk right now?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you
Okay,
guys hear me?
cool. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, my name is Micah Wilson. I'm only an online student as well. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. I work at a tech startup called Skip. I'm also majoring in software engineering.
Cool. How you like Salt Lake? There's a lot of startups and everything going on down there. Every time I drive through, it seems like there's a new tech company.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of developers. It's a lot of fun though.
Yeah, it seems cool. I'm doing an internship for Family Search in the winter, so I'll start in January. We'll be in Lehigh, so I don't know much about it, but I'll know more after that.
Yeah, Lehigh's really cool. That's kind of where all the tech companies are moving to. So
I'm excited about it.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You mind going next, Marcus?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm Marcus. I live in Rexburg. I'm an on-campus student, but I don't really go to lectures. I just do online classes because I wasn't really getting anything from the lectures, so I just do online stuff. And I'm a software engineering major.
Cool. I like that snow.
It's not too bad. It still hasn't really snowed that much though. Not quite yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not excited about it. Oh, cool. There's more of us than I thought. Um, would you mind introducing yourself? I think the order changed. Let me see. Who's already gone? Marcus, Sebastian. And then.
I haven't gone yet.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I got lost. The order switched.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So we're just doing introductions then?
Yeah, if you would.
Sure. So yeah, my name's Jason Catmull. I'm originally from Idaho Falls, so not too far from Rexburg, but currently living in Boise. And I don't work at all in the tech industry. I've just done a major career change. Worked in healthcare. Currently I work in healthcare, and so I'm just deciding to get into this now. So yeah, I'm a software engineering major and doing this all online, and yeah, hope to get into it fairly soon. So.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't think I got the job, but I had an interview with the healthcare company there and telling me a little bit about like it's got to be really secure and stuff like that. Like you have to take care with people's records and all.
Yeah, I'm sure they put a little more emphasis on it than most places.
Cool. Who else hasn't gone?
I just showed up late. Sorry. Trying to come up to speed.
Oh, okay, no problem. We're just doing introductions is all we're doing.
Okay, yeah, I haven't gotten it then.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Okay, I'm Jonah Green from Rexburg, Idaho, software engineering major.
Nice.
Don't know what else I can add other than I'm trying to find a job in the industry.
That's where we're all at.
It's kind of hard to get your foot in the door in this industry. It feels like if you don't have any prior experience.
Well, have you taken 346, or do you have to?
I don't think I've taken 346 yet. So.
Okay. Yeah, you'll learn about like using Git and Android and collaborative development, and that'll be a good one for your resume.
Cool.
And then I don't think we've heard from Michael. I don't think we've heard from. I apologize. Don't let me forget anybody. I apologize, guys. Would you introduce yourself, Michael? Can you hear me, Michael?
Was Michael the one who said he could only be halfway in the meeting?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
apologize. You keep
Michael,
doing.
get in here.
I really don't mean. I'm sorry. I apologize. So if I haven't forgotten anybody, and I really do apologize if I have. I'm sorry. The names all. It's going to take me a couple more days before I'm really comfortable with all the names. But we'll go ahead and jump into it. And if it's all right by you guys, I'd like to start with a prayer.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'll go ahead and say that. Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be able to meet together today as a team. Please help us to be able to design good and functional UI assets that can contribute to this SDD. And thank Thee for the opportunity to work together and to learn about working in a team environment. And we say all this in the name of Thy Son, even Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Okay, alrighty. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and then we'll start to work through the agenda that I had. Let me see how I do that. Oh, share screen. Here it is. I apologize. I'm a little bit new to Zoom, so can everybody share my? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So here's the agenda that I wanted to kind of work through. I do have to admit I borrowed this agenda from Adam Shumway, who's the leader of another team. So if it looks familiar, that's why. But I thought it was really appropriate because it touched all the main points I wanted to touch on. And then we're going to get into the nitty gritty when we get to team breakdown. And that'll be the things that are specific to us. So here's team welcome. Welcome, team. I'm glad to have you guys all on my team. Some of you guys didn't hear.
Hey, 1 second. What
yeah.
are the names on the side for? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20?
The names?
20.
They're just line numbers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, and sorry, I had copied those from the Excel sheet, and I was gonna. They were just notes for me, but I know that there's more of you guys that weren't on that sheet, so that's why some of your names weren't there.
Okay, sorry. No,
Yeah, sorry. Let me I'll delete those if it makes you feel more comfortable.
No, it doesn't. Hey, you're fine.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I was just wondering whether we're okay.
Yeah, no, my bad. So here's the quick review of where we are. So everybody read the feedback that we got from Brother Forkey.
Yeah.
Did anybody have any questions about that? I know I was a little disappointed personally.
Yeah, I just felt like I don't know if it was coming from the teacher or not, but I just felt like he was really pushing more and more features, and then he tells us that it's too
Yeah,
big. So.
and see, that's something that kind of blindsided me too. But it's just something we got to work with what we've got now. I guess it's a point that's only come across now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's something that we've got to. Me and Landon last night, we were cutting features. So we went through the list of all the features that we had, and we started to cut the ones that didn't make sense. You can see we've taken them out here. There's blanks. And these are the ones that we started to take out, like the video chat, the Android widget, different ones that didn't feel like they really contributed to like the core features of this app.
Mm-hmm.
Ones that made it hard to describe what it did and how it did it and why that was important. The ones that really just made it like spread out, like this Google and Apple stuff, and especially the maps and all. Some of them really just were more than we needed. But like you say, it did kind of feel that way, like we needed more features just for their own sake.
Yeah.
And then it was a little bit of a surprise. I'll just go and be honest. But
yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. But so that's what we're doing to try and work through these is we're just cutting some of those features. The other points he says is that he wants us to pay close attention to the rubric, pay close attention to the specs and what they say is expected in such a document, aka everybody's read that SDD document. Just like follow what they prescribe in that thing, and we'll be pretty close to like, you know, the best we can do. And then it says use the best writing skills. I think there was a little bit of confusion because when I remember seeing some of the earliest examples of use cases and they used first person language, and then I think we lost points for that on the final. So I mean, all I can really say is just the takeaway is we got to be like, I guess it just has to be cleaner language than that. Like you can't use first person. It's got to be more more professional, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, because he says the tone of the document was not professional enough. So we're gonna, I think overall, we're looking to kind of tighten up the review process and like make sure that more people have a final look at the final document before it goes in. Because I know maybe I'm the only one that felt this way, but I feel like I kind of had like assignment blinders on, and I worked on my part, and then I just sort of walked away from it. So I think going forward, it really would help the team and it helped the whole project team if all of us kind of owned the whole document and really took care to make sure that it was quality all the way through. Although, of course, we are specifically assigned to work on the UI, user experience portion of things. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Did anybody else have a question? Sorry, I know I kind of just started talking as soon as you asked that question. I'm sorry. If you don't have any more questions, we can move forward, but I just wanted to give everybody a chance to ask. Okay, so yeah, that's that feature purge that I mentioned. We're just going to cut the ones that don't add value. So here's the idea of an SDD. The STD basically describes how we're going to fill out the SRS that we've created. So as far as what the STD involves, let me pull up a little document that got shared right here. So this is an example of a page that would come from an STD. And I'm specifically using this one because it has a big diagram at the top that's going to show you what it looks like when it has a UI element involved. So this is sort of our bread and butter. And now this is a professionally made STD. So, excuse me, it's a portion of one. But you'll note that this one looks really polished, like this UI element, this diagram here. But the use cases that have things like this, like for example, the calendar, you know, the calendar is going to have UI element to it. So we're going to be the team that's in charge of making that UI element look nice and have a diagram of it that we can put into this use case. So that's going to be part of our job. Something that Michael walked me through a little bit ago when I talked to him, because I wasn't quite sure how to talk about all this. So I asked him what I could, you know, what I could say. And he said that one point that he really wants to be understood is that this needs to be in perfect agreement with the description that's all down below here. And I can repost this link so everybody can read it. But he wants this diagram to match exactly what's down here, and between the two of them, they should paint like an unambiguous picture of how this feature would be used via its UI interface. So you'll note here it mentions like it's got a from. Let me zoom this up a little bit. So it's got a, and this is an example that he gave. The LDS Church has a translate feature that's available online to leadership so they can translate documents. So when it says from auto-detect to German, that's described down here. It says there's a drop down that says from language. It's got all the languages and to, and it's got enough detail that it's totally unambiguous. You know, and it's got all the other features described as well. So this is something that we're going to be working closely with the use case team to create. as well as the other teams. So that's kind of what our team is doing. That's our job, is to make these guys, as well as to work with the other teams to make sure that user experience is uniform and consistent and predictable, and just generally overall user-friendly throughout the rest of the application. So let me go ahead and post this link that I've just mentioned that I would put. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the team down here. I'm going to go ahead and put a message just in case somebody needs to know what this link is for. Here is the link to the example SDD pages that I mentioned in the video. Cool. So that's all available to y'all now then. And I hope you'll take the moment to go ahead and look through that, because I feel like when I looked at that, it cleared a lot of things up for me. I was like, I don't understand, because like in these other documents, some of the other ones, they didn't have any UI things like really involved with
Yeah, I noticed that.
the depiction of it. And I was like, I don't understand where we fit in. But so this is the way Michael explained it to me. Let me give you another example. This is one. This is a page from an SDD that describes a notification system for that same that same language system. But you'll note that this one doesn't have a screenshot or a mock-up, and it says not applicable. Now this one, it wouldn't be applicable to have a screenshot or a mock-up of a screenshot on this one, because this is sort of a process, in the sense that a notification is something that you don't really, like, you don't design the interface of it. It's just something that you do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to go through our list of features and make note of which ones need UI elements and which ones don't, right? So that's going to be part of what we're going to do this week. We're going to do that. And the other thing that we're going to do this week is we're going to start making like pen and paper wireframe drawings of the mock-ups that we do need to make. So let me go ahead and come over to this spreadsheet. And I had colored these because I thought there was only 6 in the team at first, and then I got confused. So that's why that was like that. But I'd like to piece these out to each of you guys so that each of us has like 3 maybe. Let me see how many of us there are. Let me go back. How do I show my video panel? So let's see. There's 7 of us. Is that right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that was confusing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't understand this.
There's 8 of us in this call right now.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I was sort of at a loss for how to determine that, so I appreciate that. So I think that's going to be our final number, is 8, because I haven't seen any more than just 8 people. So here there's 24 features. So that means that each of us should be able to take 3. So here's what we'll do. I'm going to go ahead and mark these with borders. And then if I could just assign y'all each 3 features. And then what I'd like you to do is when I'm going to share this spreadsheet, and I'd like y'all to fill in, does it need a UI diagram? And then for the ones that do, if you could go ahead and on pencil and paper, like draw a UI diagram of them. And then, am I doing this right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can the last person will get 4? Let me scoot this over. And the last person will get those 4. And then for the ones that do need UI diagrams, if you could just accompany them with their number, or maybe I should be more clear. If you could just draw that diagram and then upload it to the Slack channel and numbered so that we know which feature that it coordinates to. And I apologize if I'm not being very clear. Let me type up exactly what I'm trying to explain, and then I think it'll be a little clearer. Because sometimes I explain things more clearly when I write it than when I say it. So for right now, let's just make the assignments, and then you just look out for those instructions that I'll post. So who wouldn't mind taking these first three? Or does it really matter? Maybe I should just put names.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can do
that works.
I can do the first
Alright.
three or whatever.
Oh, okay, cool. Is that Micah?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then I'll just go ahead and put names on the rest because I don't think it really makes it, unless somebody feels really strongly about it.
No.
Jason. Let's see who else is on here. And it could be the case that none of these will need UI diagrams, but it also could be the case that they all do. If you feel like overloaded, we can like swap the work a little bit. Like just like holler at me. And who did I miss? And we can definitely take a look at
Michael,
that.
you missed Michael.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. Cool. So then if by the end of the week, we could have pencil and paper diagrams for each of these that need some kind of UI element diagram to explain how they work, then that'd be great. And now that I think about it, let me give you all a couple of examples. So I'll just go ahead and walk through a couple of these. So if we looked at ADA compliant, we could come here into the document and look at ADA compliant. And that is right here, I believe. Yeah, that's the only one. So it just says that in accordance with federal disability law, it's going to be ADA compliant. So that's not really something that needs to have like a UI element to explain like where the buttons are and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
But we would need a UI element to explain for example, the continuous calendar. Let's go to that one. And we'll read through it. So it says, verification will be complete if the user can continuously scroll the calendar month view. Let me go up to the part where it actually describes the feature itself. Those are the testing. Okay. So it says, as a user, I want to see the last week of the previous month, all weeks of the current month, and the first week of the following month when using the month view. The feature will allow me to access other months by scrolling up or down. So that's just like your standard feature on a calendar. It shows the ends and the beginnings of the months that precede and follow the month that we're looking at, and you can scroll through them. So that's something that would be illustrated. It kind of lends itself to illustration with a UI element. So that's one where I'd put yes, and it doesn't need a UI diagram. And then by the end of the week, I would just draw up a little pencil and paper diagram of what that would look like. What would a diagram look like that I could, if I put it through a computer graphics program, I could upload it and make it part of the final document,
Okay.
And then holidays, just for one more example, we'll look at holidays. It says users need to be aware of specific calendar holidays. Text labels and watermarked icons denoting each holiday will help the user identify those days at first glance. So that's another one that I think would be helpful if we had a UI diagram to explain it, kind of like I showed. Oh, I guess I already closed it. But you could picture what a calendar would look like, where it was designed to demonstrate a little icon over a holiday or something like that. And of course, like some of these are going to have a little bit more creative input than others, or I should say creative flexibility. Like when you draw the diagram, do it the way you think would be best. And, and just kind of like put some thought into what the user's going to think when they use it, and how easy it's going to be. And the more thought we put into it early on, the easier it'll be to get a polished product on the first try, so we don't have to change things around and stuff. So does anybody have any questions about that? I feel like I went through it a little rushed, but.
Well, I have more of a concern than a question, and my concern is that the diagrams that we make might be a little too different from each other. Is there some way that we can make it so that the diagrams kind of go together, like they are from the same application and not from completely different ones?
Well, so for this week, we don't actually have to have diagrams that have been generated by an application or something. You can really just draw on pencil and paper and keep it really rough, just for that exact purpose, because not all of us are going to be on the same page as far as, what color this should be and how wide that margin should be and where these buttons should be and how should we standardize, navigation and stuff like that. So if we keep it rough, then we'll be able to synchronize after we've gone through and made all these wireframes, It's kind of like storyboarding a movie. It just makes it easier later. It's like a rough first step, and then later we come through with the nice stuff like the software and all.
Okay, so the idea will be more like think of the buttons that you'll need, think of the list you'll need, and things like that, and just kind of put them in the picture so that we can then later on make a better UI, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, I would just take pencil and paper and draw it the way you would expect to see it when you loaded up that web page. And, if it's rough, that's great. Like, no problem at all. Just whatever you think is necessary to, like, basically communicate the idea. And then I just scan it, label it with the number that corresponds to that feature, and then just put it on the Slack channel, and we'll organize those as they come in.
So one question: I'm assuming we're wireframing and designing towards web over mobile. Okay, just so we're all on the same page.
Yeah, we're gonna prioritize web, and I'd really like to talk to the other guys a little bit more about mobile before we really jump on that. So let's prioritize web this week. And I'd imagine that it'll become more of a priority that we flesh out mobile as we go forward. But for right now, let's just look at web.
Yeah, from past weeks, that was the main point of it, was to be basically on the computer, kind of a web application on the computer.
Yeah.
I was going to say typically in web design, you want to design for mobile first before the web, but I understand the web first kind of percentage. So.
Yeah, I'm hopeful that there won't be that dramatic of a difference between the two when we really come down to reconciling them. So if there's something you can, I'd like to talk to you more about mobile first development. If there's something you'd like, if there's more you'd like to say about it. I really don't know much about it. I'll just be honest. So.
Well, basically, you develop for mobile. That's anything. Anytime you develop for mobile, it expands to the web pretty well. It's you're developing structurally. It's a little different. Whereas web, you're putting things on the page and you're saying this is where this is always going to be on the page. But in mobile, everything's designed to move around, and it's designed to be like within divs and to be flexible, as it were. And so it's always better to do mobile first, but I don't know. Mobile is modular. That's like the one thing you need to know.
Okay. So what can we incorporate from that in this week? How would you recommend that we make everything modular, or is there something else about mobile development that would also be good to think about as we do this?
Well, I mean, we kind of broken everything, all the features up into things, but they're not really broken up by. Well, this week we're just saying whether it needs a UI diagram or not, right?
Yeah. And then,
So I think a secondary thing would be to say that what relates to it. So for example, push notifications could relate to the calendar, something like that. I don't know. Just when you take a feature and see how they interact with each other, what things would be right next to each other, or to say what would be on the same page. So
yeah, that's
so organizing our features would be how we would start to design mobile first.
okay. I like that. What would you think if we did so like in general, I think it'd be fair to say that the ones that need UI diagrams could have the other ones grouped to them. So like you said, the calendar could have notifications grouped to it, like they'd be on the same page in a way. And we can kind of start to think of those as groups after we've sort of thought about which ones are the main UI elements. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because there's some things like the statement calendar application is mobile and calendar application is web might not necessarily need a UI diagram for that specific feature. Every other feature should show that. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's because it sort of like permeates the rest of the application as opposed to being something you visit in itself.
Exactly. And so if we're going to be doing this mobile first thing, after we decide what needs UI diagram, what doesn't, then we can kind of decide what would go on the same page. And in the process, we'll probably find new features in the process of making a UI diagram.
Okay. All right. Well, I'd like you, as we work on this, I'd like you to, keep me in, just like help me learn about mobile first development and what kind of things we should be aware of and like wary of as we move forward. Because I'd hate to know that I'd like work this into a corner because I didn't, because I was just inexperienced. So I really do appreciate that you're on the team and that you have that experience. I hope you can. I hope to learn from you.
It's okay. I'm sure someone else in the team has done mobile development too. I mean, I only do it for the school, but we don't do too much. I mean, we do a lot, but we don't. It's not the same. So
yeah.
I don't know. But I bet someone else has actually developed mobile applications. So.
Yeah, I know Sebastian and I, we both do iOS development, but I mean that's more like native mobile design, and seems like what you were talking about, Michael, was more web mobile design.
Yeah.
So I know those are a little bit different.
Well, I really just hope I can cultivate an environment where you guys who are a little bit more experienced with this kind of thing can really feel like your know-how is being incorporated. So please just don't ever feel like you can't tell us that we're doing something the wrong way just because that's what I said. So thanks, guys. Was there any more questions about all of this, or can we?
Just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for these diagrams, can they be kind of storyboarded? Like with mine, I'm looking at the collapsible calendar, and to kind of demonstrate that, I'm going to have maybe like two different, captions or different storyboards where I have a collapsed calendar and one that's open that shows you how to collapse the calendar. So is that how it works? I mean, it's not just all one.
Yeah, with something dynamic like that, I think it'd be appropriate to show it, in its open and closed state. I think that'd be appropriate.
Okay.
Well, with things that we have been talking about, a question just came up to me, and the question will be: when we're making the design, should we make a design both for the mobile interface and also for the web interface, like on the computer?
Let's just do web for this week. But
okay.
You guys who know more about mobile development, don't work yourselves into a corner. If you know that something's going to have to be a different way for it to work on mobile as well, then certainly, by all means, do things the best way you know how, and let the rest of us know so we don't, violate good practice or whatever. But let's just focus on web for this week.
And then also when it comes to web, of course, there's difference between each one of the different web browsers. So are we going specifically into one, or how are we going to do that? Because, for example, for push notifications, it won't work the same in every single web browser,
Yeah.
which is one of the things that I have to do for this week.
So push notifications, honestly, I think is one of the, I think that's more specific to a mobile device. But now that you mention that, it does seem a little bit out of place.
Because it can be done also on Chrome. I haven't used Firefox and Safari too much, so I'm not 100% sure if they have push notifications, but I know Chrome does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's something we would design anything for, because that's going to be
Mostly done by them. Yeah.
designed by the system, whether that's
You
Chrome
just
or
pass
iOS
it the
or
information.
Android.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just had that little question of should we be aiming more towards certain kinds of browsers rather than other ones? Because I remember the teacher making a point that we should not, what's the word? Have every single web browser be able to work with this.
Yeah. So from the discussion we had yesterday between the leads, and the project manager, Michael, wasn't there, but it's the direction that we've been taking in general has been to keep it language agnostic where possible and describe it at like kind of a high level.
Okay.
So I wouldn't recommend going directly into all of that for right now. But with that being said, Sebastian, I think that that's kind of something that the use case team would really be more directly involved with.
Mhm.
And we are going to work together with them, so it's not something that we should be unaware of. But when it comes to like describing the technical aspects of how things interact and stuff, especially on these ones that don't really necessitate UI interface or like UI diagrams, I should say. Like, I don't think that we'll necessarily need to be too far involved with all that. And it should be pretty simple from our end to keep, specifically in the case of push notifications, but in general, all of these other ones that don't need UI elements should be pretty easy to keep those language agnostic, just because we won't really have to do anything on them, just because they're built into the system in a way.
All right.
Sorry, that was about the longest sentence I think I've ever said. I was trying hard not to lose what I was saying while I was saying all that. Yeah. Sorry, any more questions? Cool. So that's how we were going to break down. And then this inter-team collaborators. So let me go ahead and open up over here. I'll go ahead and show you on Landon's team. He's asked two of his guys to specifically work with our team. Let me collapse this so you can see it. This is a message from their Slack channel. I'm sort of like infiltrating their team, I guess. But so he talked to me about this. But he's asked two of his guys to work with us. So I'm going to be talking to these guys, Kyler and Jonathan, or John. I know he goes by John. To see how we can best kind of like fill their needs as far as what they're going to be doing with branching out to these other teams and all. Because the system architecture team is kind of going to be doing like the overarching, the broad scope of things, all of that. You can see they've already started with their UML and everything. So I'm going to see what the need is that exists there, and then we'll adjust and make assignments as appropriate. That's what I wanted to say about that. And then I didn't plan on going much longer. I know 40 minutes is already kind of a long meeting. What's on here? Oh, there's more of these. Crap. Okay, I'll take care of those. But I do appreciate y'all making time in your evening just to talk to the team and all. I really do appreciate your confidence in me. I'm new to this, and I'm happy to learn anything about mobile first development or anything like that y'all can teach me, because I know some of you guys are already in the industry. Some of you guys have worked on teams before. And so I'm just grateful to be learning from you guys. So I hope that you can feel comfortable telling me anything that I'm doing wrong. and specifically anything that we can do to make the project flow easier. I believe in talking about things before they become situations. So just let me know any little thing. I'm always on Slack, and I'll put my number. You can text me at here as well. So if anybody has any further questions, I'd love to talk to him. You can feel free to ask him. Just give you a couple seconds, and if not, then I think we'll go ahead and wrap up because it's been 40 minutes.
You're saying you're doing a good job for your first time. So
Yeah, excellent job, Daniel.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. So let me do this. I'll just go ahead and kind of give us a postmortem post here in the team chat. Describe everything we talked about in a little bit more detail and make sure that's the way I want it to be understood. Because I know sometimes when I start to talk, the way it came out is the way that I said it, and I hope that if there's any confusion, that what I can write will clear that up. But if not, feel free and ask me. But we're gonna be working on that, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys. Just give it your best shot. Some of you guys will probably get lucky this week, and you might have 3 in a row that really don't require any wireframes. But if not, just give it your best shot at a simple wireframe, pencil and paper, and it shouldn't be too hard. I'm not anticipating this to be a very heavy week. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys. If there's nothing more to be said, I'll just go ahead and post this video on YouTube and get it to the Slack channel and give you all the review of everything, like I was mentioning.
Sounds good.
I think that's where we'll wrap. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem
you.
at all. Have a great week. We'll be in touch tomorrow. I'll be meeting with Michael and the team leads again, so I might have some more details for you.
All right. Sounds good.
Alrighty. Bye now.
Talk to you later.